Director of Ceremonies this morning. Colleagues, welcome to this signing ceremony. First of all, I recognize the senior government officials here present. Some of them have been speaking. Zondasara, who is the PS for Treasury, acting PS. And then PS Maringa from the President's Office of Chief Secretary and President and Cabinet, as well as the other senior government officials here present. I also recognize, of course, the Ambassador of the European Union delegation here, His Excellency Jobs van Kerkman, and Team Europe, shall we say. This is a new phrase I learned today, Team Europe. You are all welcome, and actually, I welcome all the staff members within the ministry from various government departments, members of the press here present. Welcome to this signing ceremony, and a good morning indeed. Or is it now afternoon? I feel very highly honored to deliver this address on this special occasion on the signing of the 4 financing agreements between the government of Zimbabwe and the European Union. The 4 financing agreements with a total value of 75 million euros constitute the 2024 action plan of the EU in Zimbabwe. As you are aware, the support comes under the 2021-2027 multi-annual indicative program, where Zimbabwe has allocated 148 million euros, it's about $160 million US, targeting the following thematic areas, which is green economic growth, as has been already explained by Ambassador Kerkman, social recovery and human development, and good governance and citizens' rights. It is crucial to recall that in 2022, we signed 2 financing agreements on improving health outcomes for the population of Zimbabwe. That was about 41 million euros. And number 2, the support to the Zimbabwe electoral process, and that amounted to 6 million euros. And this was under the same MIP, or multi-annual indicative program. Zimbabwe remains grateful for the EU support, and today marks another milestone in our cooperation. The 4 financing agreements will be channeled towards implementation of the following 4 projects, as already been highlighted. 1, agri-value chain development in Zimbabwe, and that's 26 million euros, as Ambassador has already explained. 2, biodiversity enhancement for resilience building in Zimbabwe, that's 26 million euros. 3, transparent and accountable governance in Zimbabwe, that's 16 million euros. And then finally, gender equality and women's economic empowerment in Zimbabwe, that's 7 million euros. So total 75 million euros, or just over 80 million US dollars. Let me elaborate on the agri-value chain development in Zimbabwe. The agri-value chain development in Zimbabwe embraces a comprehensive approach to agricultural value chain development. Support will be channeled towards Zimbabwe's green economic growth through climate-smart agriculture, agri-food value chain development, and renewable energy promotion, all very critical areas of greening our economy. The project will be implemented through partnerships with non-governmental organizations and other international organizations. The continued support to our agriculture and renewable energy sectors is commendable, and we seek to build and strengthen resilience and climate-proof agricultural systems. To this end, government welcomes the Team Europe initiative on greener and climate-smart agriculture, which strives to unlock the potential of the agricultural sector through an environmentally conscious, productive approach based on climate-smart agroecological, reducing vulnerability and increasing resilience through adaptation. All very big words, but the citizens of Zimbabwe will be very pleased with this program. Specifically, the project will focus on the following interventions. 1, a development of horticulture value chains with a focus on export to EU markets. This is really welcome. There was a time when Zimbabwe exported quite a bit on the horticulture front, whether it's fruits, vegetables, and then also flowers, And then 2, support the drought-resilient crops value chain with a focus on traditional grains. As you know, this has been an important strategy for government, especially in the drier agroecological regions, to support the growing traditional grains, and we are pleased that this program will support this specific thrust. And finally, support priority investments in renewable energy for horticulture and traditional grains value chain development. Here I'm assuming that when it comes to horticulture, this will also include cold chain technologies, which are critical for making sure that the produce remains fresh and acceptable by the market at the other end. The support is of paramount importance as it aligns with the country's National Development Strategy 1, as well as the goals and objectives across the country's existing food and agriculture delivery compact, which contributes to the achievement of the country's Vision 2030. Let me turn to the second aspect, which is the biodiversity enhancement for resilience building in Zimbabwe, which is also 26 million euros, or about 28 million US dollars. On the other hand, biodiversity enhancement for resilience building in Zimbabwe project intends to address the challenges of biodiversity loss, environmental management, and resilience of rural communities in Zimbabwe. It aims to balance conservation and development objectives by promoting collaboration amongst multiple stakeholders. Furthermore, the project will comprehensively integrate all aspects of value chain development in traditional grains, including supporting agribusinesses, agribusiness centers, input supplies, processing facilities, market access, trade facilitation, and support private investments and renewable energies, thereby creating synergies for sustainable livelihood opportunities. So you can see this program will support the entire value chain from, as they say, from farm to fork, if I can summarize it that way. It is worth noting that the project builds on the previous EU support interventions, like the Zimbabwe Resilience Building Program, implemented in 18 districts, where notable improvements in livelihoods were realized. Let me turn to the third program of transparent and accountable governance in Zimbabwe, where 16 million euros or 17 million US dollars has been allocated. Coming to the transparent and accountable governance in Zimbabwe project, the government fully supports the objective of enhancing governance at the local level to improve social services and justice delivery for citizens, especially women and persons with disabilities and the youth. The support comes at an opportune time when government is prioritizing the strengthening of good governance in order to foster economic development. Globally, it has been acknowledged that building institutional capabilities is critical for economic growth and development. This is a well-known fact, colleagues, that there's a strong correlation between economic growth, economic development, and institutional capacity across a variety of institutional aspects, including the capabilities at local government level, which this project seeks to target. Furthermore, I'd like to applaud the partnership between the government and the EU in the governance sector, as evidenced by the co-chairing of the governance sector working group, with notable progress on reforms being implemented under the structured dialogue platform for arrears clearance and debt resolution. Ambassador Kirkman co-chairs this pillar under the structured dialogue platform jointly with the Minister of Justice. The project will also contribute to empowering citizens to participate in governance and development processes, as well as strengthening local authorities to lead in the development of their constituencies. The project will be implemented by civil society organizations and indirect management by the German Development Corporation, GIZ. Finally, I now turn to the Gender Equality and Women's Economic Empowerment in Zimbabwe project, for which 7 million euros has been allocated. That's about 7.6 million US dollars. Finally, the Gender Equality and Women's Economic Empowerment in Zimbabwe project seeks to address gender inequalities, discrimination, and advocate for women's rights, mandating equal participation of all women, regardless of age, ethnicity, religion, and disability, in all societal spheres, and equitable representation in government in line with the Constitution of Zimbabwe. The project will support economic empowerment of women through engagement with the private sector, for skills development of female entrepreneurs, and advocate for better access to finance for women-led micro, small and medium enterprises in alignment with NDS 1. Once again, the project will be implemented by non-governmental organizations, civil society, and UN agencies. Allow me, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to express our sincere gratitude to the EU on behalf of the government of Zimbabwe for all the above-mentioned continued support received from the EU. As we have noted, the support is building upon and reinforcing the investments made under the 11th European Development Fund, and dovetails with our national development thrust as enshrined in the NDS 1. As you are aware, Your Excellency, Ambassador Kirkman, alignment of the development cooperation with national priorities is key tenet for development effectiveness, and we would like to commend the EU for achieving this, and would like to encourage increased adoption of country systems and government involvement in the implementation of the projects to further strengthen ownership and sustainability of the interventions. At the very least, we expect that this project can also be tracked through our system, the Dev Promise system, that we developed together, so that we can really keep track of the progress being made. Let me conclude by assuring you, Your Excellency, and Team Europe, and colleagues, and everyone here present, of the government of Zimbabwe's commitment to the full re-engagement with the European Union. Once again, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of Zimbabwe, I'd like to extend our profound gratitude to the European Union for its continued support to the people of Zimbabwe. I thank you, Tinote and Siabo.
Thank you. Honorable Professor Mithule Ncube, Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, dear representative from the President's Cabinet and from all the line ministries, my dear colleagues, the Team Europe, which is here. It is an important moment today because, as it was said, we are signing agreements for 75 million euros, over $80 million. I think it is an expression of the long-standing partnership the European Union has with Zimbabwe. But it's also an expression of what we call Team Europe. And we as Team Europe, which are all the EU member states you see here, plus our bank, the European Investment Bank, we are globally committed to work on sustainable development and connectivity through our Global Gateway Initiative. We do this all together, and together with our member state, we make available over 300 billion euros worldwide and 150 in Africa. And our commitment as Team Europe is also here in Zimbabwe. And collectively, the EU member states and the EU, we have identified two main areas where we would like to be active together with the government and in alignment with the National Development Strategy 1. The first one is greener and climate-smart agriculture. And everybody will agree with me, it's a very important topic. Just think of the drought, think of the land reform which was before us. I think agriculture is a key topic for Zimbabwe. And the other one is gender equality and women empowerment. Also a key topic, because Zimbabwe is extremely committed. I'm looking at the representative of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, extremely committed to gender equality and women empowerment. And, ladies and gentlemen, they both go together, because many women work in the rural area and are in agriculture. So together with Team Europe, we are making available over 500 million euros for these two activities. Currently, right now as we speak, Team Europe has an ongoing portfolio of 867 million euros in projects in this country. 867.
That's quite a bit.
So, and of course, as I said, today is an important day because it marks the moment where we sign our next upcoming program. And before talking about that, I would like to say that I'm right now coming from another event where France, a very active Team Europe member, with the support of the EU, has signed new credit lines for in particular for the agricultural sector with NMB and Stanbic of a total of 30 million euros.
Yeah, very good.
And I think also that shows that we are really supporting that sector. Let me say a word about the initiatives which were already mentioned. 26 million for agricultural value chains, with a specific contribution also from Germany of 1 million extra, where basically we focus on making farms autonomous, renewable energy, solar for irrigation, making farms autonomous through renewable energy. I think that will be the core topic. The second one, 26 million, which you mentioned on biodiversity and resilience. These words sound abstract, but let's break it down for a moment. This corresponds to what we call under Global Gateway the Natur Africa approach. What is that? It means people will only appreciate biodiversity if their livelihoods are not in danger. If somebody has cattle or crops and is constantly endangered by animals, they will not embrace biodiversity. Don't putting people in the middle and make sure that the human beings can live in harmony with the biodiversity around, and that livelihoods are rather increased than reduced. That is the approach of that program. The third one, 16 million on transparency and accountable governance, in particular with local authorities. I think this has a lot of link to what I understand the government is currently planning on devolution. And we believe that strengthening local authorities ties very well in with an approach on devolution, which I understand is to come in the next couple of years. And finally, 7 million for gender equality and women empowerment. I think that was already said, ties in very well with the governmental strategy on both, and in particular also on women empowerment, make women a socially, economically, and politically active actor in the society. I think that's the wish of the Zimbabwean government, expressed in many strategies and documents, and that resonates very well with us. Now, having said that, I would also like to underline that we are not operating in an empty space. We can only do what you, as government, what you have fixed as priorities. And that brings me, of course, to the alignment with the National Development Strategy 1, but also with the different strategies you are having. It is very important for us to have this alignment, and it is very important for you, because we do not want to carry out activities which are not going along with what you had planned. But for that, it is important that we have regular exchanges. And let me take this occasion today to make a pledge for that, because I believe we could do much more. And I would like to give two examples. We should have very regularly a partnership dialogue, which we didn't have for 2 years, and I think it is urgent and it is important to have it as soon as possible, but also regular high-level meetings with line ministries. Yeah, whether it is with Women Affairs, we have planned one now, but also with the other ministries, it is important to have an exchange on how we work together and how to get guidance from you as well on how we should operate. So let me make this pledge for an even greater cooperation. I would also like to say that all our programs basically have what I would call cross-cutting issues as well. Gender is in all programs, not only in the gender program. We focus on youth, disabilities, civil society participation, and that you will find basically in all of the 4 programs we have just listed. Let me say one other element which is on the horizon for the coming year. Together as Team Europe, we have started to look into the possibility of bringing European companies to Zimbabwe for investment. I have written to your ministry and also to the other relevant ministries, and I really hope there will be a lot of feedback and a lot of support, because we obviously need to be partners in order to make that a success and also motivate companies to benefit from the opportunities here in Zimbabwe. Honorable Minister, let me conclude by reaffirming the Team Europe's very strong commitment to a partnership with Zimbabwe, whether it's today here, whether it's in the arrears clearance process or in any other process. We stand ready to be a solid partner for Zimbabwe. Silani, Tinemi, EU with you, thank you very much.